What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Strong, well-fed, outspoken. I am your girl, one of your hosts, Rusty, aka Coach Frizzle. This is my girl.
What's up? I'm your other girl, Coach Nell.
How many times can we say girl in the first 30 seconds?
Don't challenge me.
I know.
I
don't
love a
challenge
challenge.
Yeah, we will rise to the occasion. If you guys are new here, welcome. The chaos has already ensued. You're like, what the heck is going on with these two personalities? But you'll hopefully adjust to us pretty quickly.
And if you don't, that's okay. We do have good things to say, so maybe you tough it out, or maybe you find another listening choice.
Yeah, if you're not into the chaos, probably skip the first 5 minutes of every single podcast
That's
that
accurate.
we start,
Yes.
and then we'll literally get into the good stuff. If you guys are watching along, you are probably thinking, okay, they have coordinated their outfits again. But if you're not new here, you'll know that this is not like
uncommon. This is unplanned, very common occurrence.
Yeah. So if you're not watching right now, Nell and I never talked about like what clothes we're wearing or anything like that.
We have never once discussed an outfit choice, and multiple episodes we have shown up pretty much identical.
Yeah. So today we are both wearing black long sleeves with a vest, a sleeveless
like
vest
a puffy quilted like wintry vest.
Yeah. Nell's is like turquoisey green.
Yeah, these are not like just a black puffer vest. These are outrageously colored.
Yeah, and mine, as always for us, mine is like an orangey red, which is hilarious as well.
Orangey red, sort of, and I always default to like the bluey greens.
I guess
if we were to color code us, that would be it.
Yeah, probably. Although blue is like actually my favorite color, but for some
reason, I love a purple, so
there you go. But it's hilarious because our colors today as well, we definitely look like we're Christmas themed.
Yeah.
And this is the second part of our holiday episode. Last week, if you didn't check it out, go watch our first one, from last week. What was last week's topic?
Yeah, we were talking last week about holiday grazing, right? Or just grazing in general, but it's such a common occurrence around holidays, right? Yes. There's always a spread of food, and how do you navigate that?
Absolutely. Yep. Today we're kind of going at things from the other side of the coin. So instead of dealing with the food, dealing with the people. Always super fun. I would actually say that sometimes, depending on where you are in your own journey, this is harder to deal with than the food itself.
Yeah, because the food and you is exactly what it is, right? Like the food is your nemesis almost. Whereas this, well, like when you talk about literature, we talk about like man versus nature, man versus, thing. This is man versus man. And this is why it's tough, right? Because these are people you care about and in situations you want to be in, but they don't always jive with what you're currently trying to achieve.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So talking to your family, your friends, your coworkers, whoever it is, about your diet, or even just putting boundaries in place, how to set boundaries in place over the holidays. That's what we're going to be talking about here because, let's be honest, the holidays are supposed to feel joyful. Whether you actively celebrate these or you're just invited to these other events, they're supposed to feel fun. Mm-hmm. But if you are somebody who has been working on your nutrition, your mindset, or even just like your relationship with food, it can feel more like a war zone. It can feel more like a minefield.
Yeah, if you're curating behaviors around how you're eating and how you're feeling your body, these are the situations where it shows up and it puts you in the trenches, really.
Yeah. You can walk into any gathering, again, with friends, coworkers, family, with the best of intentions. But within 5 minutes, somebody is like commenting on your plate, your body, or asking like why you're, I love this one, not eating like you used to.
It's the used to. Yeah. Not dressing like you used to, not eating like you used to, not even interacting with certain items the way you used to.
Yes, exactly. And it's uncomfortable. It's not only uncomfortable, it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. That's what, like, even still, I'll have people who make comments and I'm like, this has literally been, okay, so if I say, I took a few years off, but I started my fitness journey at 16, I'm going on 18 years, a couple years off. I've literally been doing this as long as like I wasn't doing this, but people will still make comments. It's frustrating. And that frustration very easily becomes triggering.
Yeah, because even just the other day for me, we just had Canadian Thanksgiving, and my family, we always share our thank yous, and we create a big window display, and it's usually Thanksgiving themed, so you know, a
That's
cornucopia,
so
or
cute. Look
yeah,
at you.
it's one of my favorite traditions. However,
That's awesome.
even though this wasn't taken in a negative way, it wasn't malicious intent, there was still a joke, and I mean, I partially made it, about who got assigned what food to write our thank yous on. Because
Okay.
my littlest brother always makes a joke about when he goes to Costco, he buys a big old pie. Like he would happily just eat that for Thanksgiving. And
Yeah.
I am known for like my love of mashed potatoes. My grandparents associate it
Yeah.
with me. My family associates with me. So my thank yous went on the pie, and my little
Yeah.
brothers went on the potatoes. And I made a joke. I said it feels kind of weird that his went on the potatoes and mine went on the pie, because
Yeah.
we're so tied to our food. Our
Yes.
identities are tied
Yes.
to our food. And this
Yes.
wasn't any, we weren't even eating, but it's so tied to food that it actually came up years and years later.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Because I think we tend to hold, like, exactly like what you just said, right? Like, it's tied to food, but we also then tend to like those first, not necessarily first as in, before the age of 5 years old, but like those early years where we are young kids and teenagers, it's almost like those become the impressions that are left on us for other people or other
Yes.
interactions. And we somehow carry those with us throughout
Throughout
life.
adulthood. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter how much the person has changed. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle with, even as an adult, feeling like they're standing up to their parents because somewhere inside
Yes.
you still see yourself as that little kid.
Yes.
And
And I think at some point they still see you as that too, right?
yeah,
And that's what makes these
definitely.
conversations really difficult.
100%. So today, you guys, we're going to talk about how to mostly like stand up for yourself, right? Around food. Keywords here being the without guilt.
Hmm.
So, how to set boundaries with anyone in your life without guilt. And most importantly, how to stay confident in your decisions, even when everyone around you has something to say about them.
Yes.
Because first thing I want to say is your family probably loves you, hopefully loves you. Your
Yeah, we
family
hope that
loves
they
you.
do.
Yes. Your friends, they love you. But that doesn't mean that they're always going to understand you. So this is partly why right off the hop, like food literally feels so personal.
Truly.
And it
And
is.
you've made it personal yourself.
Yep.
They've made it personal. But as you've gone through life, food has been personal to you, right? You can pick
Definitely.
an emotion or a moment
Mhm.
and it will be tied to food.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's emotional. It's how we celebrate. It's how we connect. It is, as you just mentioned, it's tied to memories. It's tied to identity for a lot of us with different things.
And
And
even like you said, connection. What do you do on a
yeah,
first date? What do you do?
yes,
Right? Like all of these things are very much tied to food. You meet a friend for coffee or brunch.
yep, yeah, yeah. You bond over shared experiences. A lot of those shared experiences tend to be around food.
Hmm.
Not to mention, like for most families, food also feels like love.
Yes, because it's coming together for a lot of the time, right? You don't
Totally.
do everything together, but in a lot of households, mealtime is together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's how we connect, as you just said. It's also how we celebrate, hence why, food is so triggering around the holidays
Yes.
because a lot of us, I think, subconsciously also fall into the belief that, like, if the food wasn't good, then my holiday wasn't successful. If I didn't eat everything in sight or if I didn't, absolutely like make it count. And we talk about that all the time as well, right? Like, oh, what's your favorite dish? And oh, I'm going to eat all of this and all of that. And so it can feel like the holiday wasn't as good if we're
Mhm.
not eating everything in sight.
Or
But
you've
yes,
eaten something and you're like, oh, I guess it wasn't really worth the calories because I didn't like it as much as I thought I
exactly.
should.
Yep, yep. But yes, for most families, food is love. So when you say no to somebody's food, they don't just hear the words no, which is all they are. They actually hear, I'm rejecting your love. It is crazy when you think about it as humans. Steph and I got in an argument the other day, and I had said to him, I said something to him, I forget what it was now, but I said something to him, and then when we were, talking back and forth, what he repeated back to me that I said, I was like, I never said any of those
Mhm.
words, like nothing. But as humans, like what we hear, it's so based off of, again,
Like the
like,
context of what you're feeling, right?
yes, yeah, our identity and how we're triggered. And anyways, just, yes, very interesting. So when you say no to your family member, they hear, I'm rejecting your love. They really do. But here's the thing, you can appreciate the love behind it without needing to eat it to prove that love to them. And that's one thing I think that a lot of people haven't learned how to do. They feel that they just have to say no and like stand firm in that no. So then the other person feels like it's a rejection of their love. But
Yeah,
we
because when you're
can,
setting a boundary, it feels very intense the first few times you do it, right?
yeah,
And that you're almost looking for that intensity of like, no, I'm not having
yes,
that. And it
yes.
doesn't always have to be that.
Exactly. So we can still like accept their love, appreciate their love without needing to eat it to prove it. And again, most of the time, like anyone, your family, your friends, they're not actually trying to be malicious. They're not trying to sabotage you. They just don't understand what you're doing because they're remembering the past version of you. You know, the kid who loved mashed potatoes in Nell's KFC, you know. For me, to this day, I had to tell you guys, every single occasion, my aunt buys like all our favorite snacks, like for us to take home. Um,
Oh, a gesture of love, truly.
yes, exactly. And I still love Reese's peanut butter cups. Love
And
them.
I think that's the thing. A lot of these times, we still do love these things,
Yes, we
right?
just have different relationships with
Yes.
that food now. So for me, I might eat like one peanut butter cup a month, truly. But every single time my aunt sees me, she gives me a giant bag of peanut butter cups. And she always goes, "Those are the ones you love, right?" And I go, "You know it,
Yep,
Auntie."
sure are.
Yeah. And I'm overloaded with peanut butter cups at this point. Honestly, I started giving a couple of the bags away to like homeless people, being like, "Do you want these?" Because like they will go bad
Yeah.
before I will get to them. That's how often she gives them to me. And you know, I could say to her, like, honestly, Auntie, you don't have to do this anymore. But the joy she gets from giving them to me is worth it for me to just accept it and then give it away. Or again, I'm at a point though where I can also accept it and it's not triggering for me. There
Yes.
was a point at one point where I could not keep it in the house. And to be honest, at those times I did always give it away. I donated it. I gave it to somebody again that was like needy. I gave it to a friend, whatever it was. So that is one way you could again accept somebody's love without needing to eat it to prove it. But yes, they're remembering who you were. So the kid who loved pie, right? Or the daughter or the niece who always went back for seconds.
Yep.
They don't actually see the adult who's trying to build a healthier, freer relationship with food. And that's okay. You can love them deeply and still choose differently.
Yes, because you just said it right there. They're looking at that child or that past version. You're
Mm-hmm.
the adult now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
your relationship with food is only between you and food. It's not between you
Exactly.
and other people.
Exactly. So, first off, with your relationship between you and food, we first need to be in a position where we actually feel like we have true power or true autonomy around food, right? I think for many of us as well, we even see ourselves as this old version of ourselves. We see ourselves as the kid who always ate green bean casserole because it was there every year.
Mhm.
But do you even actually like that food? Right? This is another thing. We felt pressure to eat certain things because grandma made it or whatever was
Yeah,
around.
that's what you've always done.
Yes, you've always eaten it, but the question is, do you actually like this food? And most of us never even ask ourselves that question. We just eat certain things because that's what we grew up doing. It's habit, it's nostalgic, or it is literally expectation.
Hmm.
As kids, you know, I often, here's one thing that kills me. We've talked about this before, but the finish your plate,
Yeah.
right?
We both grew up in a finish your plate household, right?
Yes, yes. Now, one thing I will say though is I used to hear finish your plate more for just like the day to day,
Yes, it was never I
pushed on the
I would say
holidays as
yeah.
much.
It was always like, okay, you need to, and I feel like as my one thing my parents got right is that the finish your plate was very much because all of the nutrients you needed was there.
Yes,
And that was their main concern. But
yes,
as a child, did I know that? Did I care about that? No, it was just everything on there had to be eaten before I was allowed to get up.
yes,
And
yes,
then now
yes.
my brain goes, that still has stuff on it. I can't leave yet.
Honestly, though, honestly. And so this is why, as a side note, one thing Nell and I have talked a lot about is actually allowing yourself to like even just start by leaving two bites behind
Yes.
and see, just sit there, just leave it on your plate, sit there. You don't actually have to get up, but see how it feels. What emotions does that stir up in you? You know, start to notice, are you genuinely content, or do you genuinely want those last two bites, or what is the underlying belief that you're holding by leaving two bites behind?
Yeah, or you have one bite of each item. Which one do you
Mhm.
actually want to eat?
Yes. Yep.
Right?
For sure.
If you've got a little of something, is there one thing that you're like, I love that. I want to have one more bite or
Mm-hmm.
not?
Yes. Yep. Um, with with the finish your plate mentality, yeah, I heard this a lot, like just on the day-to-day life around the holidays. I think there was just this understanding that they already knew I was eating a lot anyways. They, my family, the adults in my family were eating differently, so it wasn't this pressure of like finish your plate. But one thing I would hear often around the holidays was, you're going to be big and strong if you eat
Mm.
that, or if you eat all your food or whatever.
One for
And
me was, if you serve it yourself, you have to
mm,
finish it. If
okay,
somebody
okay.
else had overserved you, you don't have to finish it. But if you bellied up to the bar and you're like loading it up, the expectation was
Interesting.
that you finished it because you had the
Hmm.
autonomy to choose, which is interesting because it
That's
didn't really allow you to go, I actually don't like this.
yes, 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 yes. I can see like the pros and cons to that
Yeah,
one,
right?
because I
And
started to learn
that's the
that.
thing, we're not always going to get it right. That's why
Yeah,
we're here, right? Because mistakes have been made, lessons have been learned.
absolutely. I do like that idea, because on one hand, it's when you start to realize that, like, I don't think I would ever actually push that, because again, no matter what, all of these things, they disconnect us from our
Yes.
natural, communication with our body. But I like the idea of, it forces you to become more aware as you survey yourself. Like,
Yes.
am I truly
Yeah, the
going to eat all this?
precursor to serving, very good.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
post,
Not so
what
much.
if you change your mind? You're allowed to change your mind, right?
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, I was thinking about this the other week when we were, I knew this episode was coming.
Hmm.
The idea of, you're going to be big and strong if you eat all your food. It's ironic, because anybody who fell into that household, nobody got strong. We all just got big.
Oh, big. Yeah,
Yeah.
truly.
Because like, what makes you think that I'm going to get strong by eating all this extra food?
Yeah,
There was no strength
it's
that,
true. No, we're not
yeah,
strength training. There's
yeah,
no, like, and yes, in your developmental years, you need to have enough calories to actually grow and
yes.
physically. But yeah, the strength piece is not there.
Yes, and again, when a kid is stopping themselves, they have probably already had enough nutrition that they need to grow. It's
Yeah, because
if
we talked
you
about this
grew
in an
up
earlier episode. Young people, kids, actually are very self
amazing.
aware and
Yep.
understand their body better than we do because we've ignored it for years and years and years.
Yes, it's amazing. So yes, as Nell said, we had Canadian Thanksgiving. My family was just over. The nephews are there. So the oldest boy is 7 now. And when dessert came out, everyone was all excited, and he sat down with next to me. He always sits next to me because I'm his favorite. Hey, um, but he's sitting next to me, and we're talking, and he just had like a small piece of pumpkin pie and a little bit of ice cream, and he finished it and then left, and they were playing, and he came back and he was like, can I have some more dessert? And so they were like, sure. And I got him what he wanted. And then he had 2 bites, and he got up and he left again. And then about a half an hour later, he came back and had another 2 bites, and then he left again, and he didn't wind up finishing it. And they do not, my, cousin does not do the, like, again, you have to finish your plate. But I was saying to my cousin, have any of the boys ever gotten to a point where they're uncomfortably full that they've told you? And she said no, because they're very, very good. And I mean, I've seen this when we do hang out, but exactly like that, right? He took 2 bites and he's like, I'm good. And he left. 20 minutes later, he's like, actually, I want another 2 bites. He had them and he left. Kids are amazing at this. We don't need to force them to finish their plate, unless they're always only leaving the vegetables behind. I
Yeah,
get it.
there are exceptions to the rule, or there are actual things that need to happen. But for the
Yeah,
most part, yeah, especially when it
they're
comes
great.
to holiday food, it's not always the most nutritionally balanced.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's hilarious. If you grew up in the household of like, if you eat this, you're going to be big and strong, chances are you were like me, you didn't get strong, you just got big.
Mhm.
So it all of these statements, they disconnect us from fullness. It teaches us that eating everything equals being good. Eating everything is you being worthy. But the truth is, your body doesn't actually owe you a clean plate. Your
No.
body doesn't your body doesn't owe anyone a clean plate, no matter how much they love you. Your fullness, you have to remember, is not going to be the same as somebody else's. Your taste preferences are not going to be the same as somebody else's. Your belly is not the same as somebody else's. I don't mean from a size perspective. I mean from what it can handle.
Mm-hmm.
So your body doesn't owe anyone a clean plate. You're not a child anymore. As an adult, you get to make decisions that serve how you want to feel, not how somebody else expects you to eat. That is not rebellion. That is not disrespect. That is self-respect. Okay, cousins, quick pause before we dive back in. If you've been listening to the podcast so far and thinking, this is exactly what I need help with, or how do these guys know me so well? This is your sign, baby. Inside our one-on-one coaching, we take everything you're learning here, the food freedom, self-trust, confidence, hormone health, training tips, all of it, and we actually turn it into a plan made specifically for you. That means we're not just going to hand you a plan and ram a calorie deficit down your throat or teach you how to lose fat as fast as possible, because let's be real, there are enough coaches out there for that. And you probably don't need another diet plan or even more discipline. What you do need is structure. You need feedback. You need accountability. You need somebody in your corner who actually understands what your body's been through. So if you're tired of trying to figure it out alone, I want you to go ahead and click the link in the show notes and fill out a super quick coaching form for us. This is your first step to finally building the confidence, energy, the body you have been chasing. Except now we're going to do it in a way that actually looks and feels like you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Yeah. Because I fell into this all the time. I was almost in competition with my eating. Like, I grew up in a house of teenage boys. I remember out eating a 6'2" 17-year-old when it came to tacos, just to prove I could. But I was a 15-year-old girl. Did I need 27 tacos? Absolutely not.
Yes. Oh yeah, I know. My cousin and I, and yeah, he was 6 years older than me. So yeah, actually very similar. You know, he got to the point where he was 18, 6'1". I'm 12, and we're having we're at an all you can eat pizza buffet, and we're just going at it like
piece, yes.
Yeah, and I definitely held my own, but again,
your stomach is not the same as theirs.
Exactly.
You don't owe them that. You don't owe yourself that.
Exactly, because that is not self-respect. So in order to get to that point, we need to set some boundaries. And
we're setting
I get
them
it.
Without guilt. That's the big piece here.
That is the big piece, because how do you actually stand up for yourself without hurting anyone's feelings? You know, you might be listening right now and you're like, yeah, I'm with you.
Tell me exactly what to do because I'm scared.
Yes, exactly. But then, you know, you're there and grandma's like, look what I made for you. It's like, how do you actually stand up for yourself without hurting anyone's feelings? Truthfully, you keep it stupid simple. Really simple. I come from a family. My mom still does this. This is something, honestly, in the last year, I've worked so hard on this. And I'm really proud of myself for it, where we feel the need to over-explain ourselves.
Well, I think you and I are both over-explainers in
100%.
our heart and soul.
100%. Even yesterday, right, when you messaged me, and
I was like, sorry, I can't work that in my schedule. You're like, girl, you don't have to apologize. Like, we have this conversation every week.
We're Canadians, so we apologize for everything. And we're over-explainers. But literally, over-explaining is where the stress comes in, because you feel you need to owe somebody an explanation. You are not obligated to explain your choices in any aspect of your life, you guys. Anything, not just food. You are not obligated to explain your choices or protect somebody else's emotions around them, right? Around your choices, I mean. When somebody offers you food and you don't want it, you don't need to defend that decision. You don't need to say, I'm on a diet or I'm watching what I eat.
Because that's what you're going to default to. That's what your brain is going to want to say.
Yes.
It wants to reason what you're saying.
Yes. No, you don't have to do that. You can just say, I'm good.
No,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've had enough.
Exactly. I'm full, but honestly, that truly does look amazing. But I am full. Thank you.
I'm maybe going to save that one for later.
Yes, exactly. That's it. That is literally it. You can decline food without rejecting love. If they push again, you can calmly say, I am honestly really comfortable, but I do appreciate you offering. Or, you know what, I'm listening. I'm really working on listening to my body, and it's just telling me I'm done, and I'm going to respect that.
Because everybody can understand that, like, I ate too much, I want to unbutton my pants. They know that feeling. So if you can say, oh, I'm feeling really full right now, I'm good. people understand that overeating fullness around the holidays. And if they
Mhm.
assume that you're there, they're less likely to bother you. And that
Yeah,
sounds horrible. But if
it's
you
true.
need a barrier, if you need something soft to land on, that is there.
Yes, it is so true. You're not being rude when you do any of this, when you say any of this. You're being honest. And this is something I tell clients all the time. When you try to protect everybody's feelings, you end up abandoning your own.
True.
You really, really do. Setting boundaries does not make you selfish. It actually keeps you safe, keeps you proud. It keeps you feeling good. It is how we build our own, again, self confidence, self trust, self appreciation.
Yeah, because when we look out into the world and we go, man, I wish I had that confidence, those people are setting boundaries for themselves. Those
Yeah.
people are protecting their peace. They
Yeah.
have practiced that skill. And if
Mhm.
you're looking out there going, I wish that could be me, it can be, but you have to practice that skill.
Yes, yes, exactly. And you'll be amazed at how much you'll be able to practice that skill in one setting alone because
Yes.
again, you can keep it simple like we said, right? You can decline without rejecting love. I'm full, but that looks amazing. I'm good. Thank you. Or, I appreciate you offering, but I'm really comfortable. That doesn't change the fact that like the most dreaded part in my opinion are the comments you get back,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't just let it go, unfortunately, which is
Yeah.
why we
Well, why
mentioned
are you dieting?
exactly.
Oh,
You
you
don't
don't
need
like
to
this
diet.
anymore? Yeah.
Yes. You used to
You look
love this
fine.
though. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's just one day. That one kills me. It's
Mm.
just one day. Yeah, I know it's just one day. First of all, that doesn't change anything. Or, I remember when I had lost 50 pounds, I started to get met with, you're getting too skinny
Yeah, you're
anyways.
skinny enough now.
Yes. Yeah. Just eat it. It's just one day. You're getting too skinny. You're probably nodding your head to some of these because I don't think there's too many outside the box
Yeah, a
comments. I
lot of
think
these
there
came from things we have heard directly. This is not
yes,
like a list we wrote in secret.
exactly. I think it's pretty consistent in families across the board, so it probably sounds familiar. But the truth is, like, whatever they have to say, their comments, their feedback, their jokes disguised as whatever it is, they're never about you.
No,
They're
that's a reflection of how they feel about themselves more often than
exactly.
not.
Yes, their beliefs about food, their beliefs about their body, how they feel about their body, their own self image, their own self worth, it is all coming from that place. So when you realize that, when you keep it simple in your explanation as to why, or sorry, your no explanation as to why you're not eating something,
Yeah,
and you're
as
met
your no
with
thank you, basic. No thank you.
exactly stupid simple, and you're met with any comment back. One thing I've been really working on for myself is reminding myself that my first response back, my first word back is actually a breath. Having
Mm,
that breath, I think,
that
really
pause.
just helps you, yes, pause. But when you pause, you can remind yourself that this is not actually about me, this is about them. And that will give you all the strength you need to remind yourself that you don't need to argue with them then. And you also don't have to convince them. You can, again, just keep it stupid simple and respond with, yeah, I'm focusing on feeling good lately. Or one thing I really love is when people say you used to never like be like this, or you used to love eating this or whatever. Just saying, I know my approach these days, or my food tastes these days are just looking a little different now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just focusing on a different aspect of things.
Yep. And if they keep pushing, you just keep redirecting. Ask how they're doing or change the topic completely. Because again, you are allowed to keep your peace. Silence is not weakness. Silence is also very much a response. Remember, my mom always taught me the loudest person in the room is usually the one that has the most to prove. And 9 times out of 10, that has always held true. The person that feels the need to interject into everybody's life and conversations, it's because they have the most to prove to themselves.
It's true. Do you know how they
Yeah.
get criminals to confess? They don't
Oh.
say anything.
Oh, they just stay
They
silent?
just wait.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
this is a really
crazy.
common like interview technique with people in situations that they probably shouldn't have got themselves in.
Just
But like, yeah, the worst of the worst, you just sit there and you wait, and it breaks them down because they're just constantly trying to prove something.
wow, that is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, silence is, there you go.
it's very
Silence is the
powerful. Yeah.
response. It is. It definitely is. So Keep it simple. Redirect the conversation. You are 100% allowed to keep your peace in any way, shape, or form. And keeping your peace, it can look different in the moment versus afterwards. I know for me, when I was, the first couple of years, it was very hard. And I would find that afterwards, I would almost sit in silence with myself and kind of beat myself up for the things that I did or didn't do, or I should have said this, or I should have said that, or why did I do this? And even at times, honestly, when I handled it perfectly, then the guilt I felt afterwards.
Because you can't handle the outcome, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
create the situation perfectly. You're only in control of yourself.
Exactly. So even sometimes I did everything that I said I wanted to do. I was really happy with all my choices, but then the guilt afterwards still had me talking negatively to myself. And I want you to know that whether you feel guilty afterwards or you're talking to yourself negatively afterwards, it doesn't mean you did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your nervous system catching up to your new behavior, right? So this is where the old versions of ourselves are still very much alive in the moment, even when we have really started to change our actions, our habits, our behavior. Sometimes it just takes a bit for literally like your nervous system to catch up to who it is you are now.
Yeah, I always say feel your feelings, but then
Yes,
be ready to move forward.
exactly. Yeah. Because we spend years basically creating these habits, these identities, these beliefs, these actions around food. You now have to unlearn all of those things. You also, at the same time, are trying to unlearn the idea that you have to please everyone in order to keep the peace. And both of those things are massively uncomfortable.
And at max level, when you're in a holiday situation, because it's typically family and friends you've known your whole life that are there, right? These are not like
Yes.
new people, and you get to be that new version of you. This is you working. I'm 35, like 35 years of preconceived notions. And
Yes.
when Rusty was talking about like that, the redirect, I struggled with this. I struggle
Mm,
with being silent and just letting that happen. And so, one
yeah.
thing that I actually started implementing when I was really in this situation a lot is presenting my changes from a sort of scientific non-diet place. So I
Perspective.
would
Mm,
I would talk about like after the age of 30, a lot, well, women in general start to lose bone density. And one of the best ways to prevent loss of bone density is to strength train and make sure that you're eating to go in line with that. And so I'm really focusing on that right now. And it was enough to give people like, oh, it's not tied to emotion then.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
needed something in between, like I'm on a diet or I can't just say no. I wasn't at a place where I was able to just say no, thank you. It was really difficult for me. So I started approaching it from that aspect. And that was really helpful as like a stepping stone to just saying no, thank you.
Yep, yep, absolutely. It makes a massive, massive difference. It really, really does. And I think, I think when we feel guilt, we tend to think that it means we made the wrong choice, but it really doesn't. It just usually in these moments when we feel guilt, it just means we made a different choice,
Mm-hmm.
not the wrong choice. It's just a different one.
Yeah, one we're
So
not used to making. Our body hasn't gone, oh, that's normal.
yeah, exactly. So one thing you could do is try reframing. Like anytime you hear that little voice come in, you're starting to feel guilty, try reframing it as I'm not being rude, I'm being responsible for myself. Because every time you say no without over explaining, or every time you leave 2 bites of food or more than 2 bites of food on your plate, every time you protect your energy, that's growth.
Yeah, because think about it like this. Are you going to let your kid run into traffic? No.
Yes.
You're going to say, no, stop. You're not
Yeah.
going to go, oh, you might get hit by a car as they're running away. Like, think about
Yeah.
safety for that's not how you're doing this. You're stopping the situation in that moment and then you're reflecting back on it.
Yes, exactly
Right?
though.
And that's what it is. It almost needs to be that in your brain. No,
Mhm.
simply we have to stop the situation as it's happening.
Yeah, yeah. And so you need to celebrate all of those moments, those awarenesses in the moment, how you stand up for yourself, your responses back, how you redirect, the autonomy you're taking over your body, yeah, your food choices. You have to celebrate all of those things because you guys, no matter how many years into this you are, no matter what you're working on or where your relationship with food is, the holidays are always going to be noisy. And I don't just mean that because they're noisy. There's people around and laughter and love and music. That's great noise. They're going to be noisy because of the opinions, the comments, and the expectations that you're getting, and then the mental chatter you have in your mind.
And you mentioned noise. It is noisy. It's chaotic. There's chat,
Yeah.
there's music, there's all of these things. That does not leave a lot of time for quiet
Mm,
reflection. And that's why
yes.
it's so, so important to celebrate your quiet wins. Take that moment and go, that's growth. That's
Yes.
progress.
Yes.
That's a behavior that I'm proud to be changing.
Yes, I love that because your peace, your goals, your relationship with food, they belong to you. They really do. So, like Nell said, like take those moments to celebrate them. You do not have to defend your decisions. You do not have to explain your body. You don't have to eat to make anybody else comfortable. You can love your family deeply. Listen to us on this. You can love your family deeply and still set boundaries with them. That is not rejection, that is respect.
And you
So,
can love the food. That's the
yes.
other thing too. You can absolutely love the food and still set a boundary that is going to make you feel proud and be in line with the progress that you're trying to achieve. You don't have to
Exactly.
avoid everything. You have to
Exactly.
understand that it's okay to have some, or it is okay to say no at a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So this season, your goal is not exactly a list of should or shouldn'ts. Your goal is to eat in a way that honors your body now, that honors the version of you that you are now, not your past. Okay. You deserve to enjoy the holidays without guilt and without giving anyone else control over your plate. So hopefully this episode was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you guys are feeling lit up, ready to go.
Yeah, because I want
Listen.
your plate filled as much as your heart and your soul on your journey. That's my goal for
Exactly.
you.
So listen to this, again, right before your next event. Send this to a friend. You know what? You could even send it to a family member. Be like, I listened to this. I think this was awesome. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this because we probably all have a different experience based off of our family history growing up over the
True.
years.
And if you're hearing this and you catch yourself being on the other side,
Hmm.
use that as a learning opportunity. If someone says no, thank you, practice saying, all right, cool. Or,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
I
Of
message
course.
received, like moving
Yes.
on. Practice that skill too, because you
Yes.
don't want to make it harder for someone else, especially if you know how it feels.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And the
Yes.
more
Absolutely.
you allow that to become the normal, that's what your kids hear, that's what your family hears. It really starts to bring that movement into everyone's journey.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
like your nephew,
Yep.
because of the work us adults are doing right now, those kids are growing up in a healthier environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, no, I totally agree with that. It
And when I
almost
say
makes me.
healthier environment, I don't mean like we're putting our own things on them. We're just letting them understand their own process.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It almost makes me a little mad at them. 'Cause I'm like, little shits,
No,
you're
why
gonna have
can't I
this
get it
to tell
right
me
when
when
I'm
I'm dead.
7? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully this episode was useful for you guys. If there is anything you would love to chat about or any questions you have, please drop them in the comment box below. Shoot us a message on Instagram or likewise share this to your Instagram story. Tag us in it. We would greatly appreciate it. You can find me on every social media platform at coach.frizzle.
And I'm on all the platforms at coach.alana.nell. And if you're hearing this and you're like, man, I don't know if I can do this on my own, you don't have to. We're
Yes.
here. If you want to work with us in any sort of capacity, fill out the form, send us a message. We'd love to chat.
Yes, and the form, you guys can find a link for that in the show notes below. But literally, like Nell said, we have an awesome community of men and women, as well as an awesome community of coaches where literally the support goes a very, very long way, especially if you feel like you're not getting that support in other areas of your life. So we'd love to hop on a call with you and see where you're at and how we can help you. So click the link below, fill out a form. We will chat with you guys soon. And until next week.
You have to give us 5 stars if you like what you're hearing.
Oh, yeah, please.
Until next week, you can do that.
Yeah, we will be back next week. I think we're having a Q. Oh no, actually, you know what? Next week, you
We got a
guys.
really fun one. I'm actually really excited for it.
Yes, this one's going to be probably a very personal, just honest call. Nell and I both, as you guys know, have gone through our own health journeys this year, and at times it can be
And I
very
think not just
overwhelming.
this year, have been at very different points in our journey in the past that have
Mhm.
impacted how we're handling this version,
Yes.
these low spots almost.
Yeah, because Nell and I have honestly had quite a run this year of not feeling our best, and what that's like to kind of still show up for other people and helping them feel their best while you feel like trash, and how that can really affect us emotionally, mentally, in our relationships. And so we're just gonna have a really honest conversation about what we've been going through and
And how we implement a lot of the tools that we give you
yep.
in that capacity.
Yeah, so that'll be our conversation for next week. We hope you guys will join us. And yeah, until then, have a beautiful day, cousins.
Bye.